All right, it's 7 o'clock. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Sweet. All right, good deal. You are welcome to be on camera, welcome to not be on camera. At some point, my dogs are going to come flying through here and barking, my children and everybody else. I apologize in advance. This is being recorded, so if you say anything funny, we'll share it with the world. So don't embarrass yourself or your family, because I will absolutely share it as fast as I can in as many public places as I possibly can. So it's being recorded. I feel like we just did this for Tsunami Cobb just like 2 months ago. I almost feel like we kind of haven't started yet. But anyway, here we are getting ready for round two. Now, you have to forgive me in the beginning of this meeting. It's going to be dinging in my ear 1,000 times telling me people are coming in and out, which is great and fine and wonderful. There's my phone ringing. Let me turn that off. Otherwise, that'll go on all night as well. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. I will not be able to follow the chat for about the first 10 minutes, and Amanda is on her way home from practice. So for the first 10, maybe 15 minutes here, there will not be anybody monitoring the chat. So if you put something in there, there's a good chance that we will not answer it for a period of time. That's number one. And then number two, if you're asking the question that's already been answered, because of the number of questions that we're pretty sure are going to be coming through, because nobody knows what's going on, including myself. If you're asking questions that's already been answered, we'll try to come back to it, but you'll kind of be last on the list. So don't panic. If you write something in there, I don't answer it, it's more than likely that I've already answered it. And so you can at least skim back through and get the results that you want. So I appreciate you guys who are doing this on the drive home. And I know this is a lot of fun, but I wanted to get as much of this information out as we possibly could in the beginning. I am going to share my screen with you guys for about half a second here. Let me see how to do that. Start screen sharing. I'm going to pick this thing up right there, share, and I've got to pretend like I know what I'm doing here, that I do this once a year. And I'll go ahead and apologize. I got a little carried away with some of the animations on my my PowerPoint here, so I got excited. So there may be stuff moving in the background. I apologize up front. I'll do my best I can to just kind of glide right over it and glide through it. So this is the information session for our Cobb location. Now, for those of you, I have to do this. I know a lot of you guys are repeat customers. You guys have been in club for a long time, but I've got to cover a little bit of everything for the new families that are just doing this for the very, very beginning. So some of the stuff will be redundant, but I promise you, we're not going to be here forever. And all the information that I know of that you want is all in this slideshow. That's only 478 slides long, and it will only take us about 3 hours. So you'll be fine. So we have 5 locations in Georgia. There's Tsunami Cobb, which is the one that this information session is about. It is it's our Cobb County location, which is Kennesaw, right by the airport, McCleskey Field. Excuse me. We do have 4 other locations. There's a location in Warner Robins. There's a location in Rome. And then we have a location in Brookhaven, Georgia. And that Zoom meeting, as you can see on the screen right here, is on 5/15. So if you're a Brookhaven family, that is, you probably want to hang up the phone and join us on 5/15, which I think is Monday. And then we have Tsunami South, which is our original location. And that Zoom meeting is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So same thing. You're welcome to sit through this. Some of the information is the same, but some of the information is definitely different. So anyway, so let me see if why now it's not going to fast forward with me. Why are you not going to? There we go. So we want to somebody's whiteboarding on me here. So we want to go over the details of what we do. So at Tsunami, we are a little bit different in that we have 5 levels of teams, and it has always been our goal to provide volleyball in locations where there was no volleyball. Cobb is the first location where we've come in and where there's been an established club that has had a lot of teams. Most of the time we go into areas where it's a little less populated, because that's what we're trying to do, is grow the game. But in order to do that, one of the things we do is we have 5 levels of teams. We have so we have 5 levels of team. We have, I don't know, can y'all see the little marks on the screen? Anyway, whatever they are. So we have Elite, Premier, Elite, National Premier, ATL, and Select. And we'll go over what those mean real quick. This is, for those of you guys who are new, I'm going to give you the synopsis. You can read this on here, but these are the things that are fairly important. Elite teams are what are typically our top teams. Those are the kids that are in the gym all the time. We're going to go to the highest level tournaments. We're going to play against the best competition we can find. You're going to spend more money. You're going to travel more, but you should get a better product out of it, just because we compete as much as we can against as many great teams as we possibly can. Those teams practice 3 days a week. The last two sentences are pretty important here. Playing time at the elite level is not guaranteed. You'll get a lot more information about that if you join a team, but our elite teams play to win. And so we guarantee practice time. And then once we get to competition, we play to win. Now, that doesn't mean that we are only going to play 7 kids and 5 sit on the bench the whole time, but sometimes it does mean that maybe your kid doesn't get in. So you go into the elite level understanding that. So our next location is our national location. Our national level. And these are the same as elite level kids. They practice 3 days a week. Our intentions are the same. We try and treat them the same. The older kids still go through the recruiting process, all that kind of stuff. Playing time's not guaranteed. We're playing to win, but we're not traveling quite as much. So typically these guys are good. There are a lot of two-sport athletes will play this level because they're not gone quite as often, and you're typically going to play 2-day tournaments, not quite as many 3-day tournaments, but it's still a high-level play, high-level expectations, high level of play. And our premier teams are our regional teams that are only going to play Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. But we're going to play the best schedules that we can find in Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee against some of the best competition that we can find. And our premier teams at Cobb are good. And so they win a lot of matches, and we're excited about how successful those teams are. And we will continue to push them to be successful. And you'll hear more as we go on through tonight about some of the things we're doing with our premier teams to even push their level a little bit higher. These guys are practicing 2 days a week. And premier level playing time is fair but not equal, which typically means everybody plays in pool play. I'm going to play to win in the playoffs. That's typically how that works. So you kind of have to go in knowing that as well. And then our fourth level is ATL, which is just our local teams only. They're only competing in the Atlanta area, no overnight stays. 99% of what these guys play in are one-day tournaments. They will certainly play in our buildings some, so they'll be convenient. And these guys' practice time is 100% as equal as we can get it. Playing time is 100% as equal as we can get it with 2 practices per week. And then we run a select in-house league. Some of you guys are here for our select league. Our select league is they practice 1 time a week, and they practice and scrimmage as often as they can. And then there's a play date once a week. And so those guys this time, for those of you who are select, we're going to get to move all of that to our Cobb locations, which will be fantastic for all of us. So you'll have better equipment. We had some issues this past year with one of our facilities, past season with one of our facilities. So that's all going to go away. So anyway, so now I'm going to go over these levels just a little bit more in a minute. But I have muted everyone when you've come in the thing. I have no problem if you unmute yourself and scream my name. I've got no problem with you guys doing that, because I want to make sure that we answer all the questions. Although we're going to go through a lot of information here in the next little bit. So I probably will cover most of what you guys are looking for. So for you guys that are, I want you, come on, there we go. All right, so for those of you guys who are new to this, or maybe haven't paid attention to this, one of the most important things that you get in the right age group every single year. I've said this every time I do one of these things. Every single year we have kids that are all of a sudden, poof, they're in the wrong spot. We've put them on. They've come to tryouts. They've signed everything up, and then when we start to register everything, we're like, well, crud. And it creates an issue for them, and it creates an issue for us, and so it's terrible. So you want to make sure that you are at the right age group. So here's how it works. Here's the simple way. You can read this chart and do all the stuff that's on here. But the reality is, it's how old you are on July 1st of next year. So my daughter will be 11 in October. I'm sorry, she'll be 11 in August. And so she will play, when it comes back around, she will still be 11 July 1st. She will play 11s next season. So it's how old you are on July 1st of next year. Now, there is, for those of you guys who are in the 17s, 18s division, there is a thing where you can be a senior in high school and still be 17 and not have to play 18s, but get to play 17s twice. So if that's you, then let me know and let's have a conversation about whether you should play 17s or play 18s, depending on what you want. The 17s is typically a more important recruiting year, so they allow a little bit of flexibility. Kind of flexibility there. So the way this works, though, you cannot play down. If you're an 11-year-old, you have to play 11s, 12s, 13s, whatever. You cannot play 10s under any circumstances. So I want to make sure that you guys all understand that. So there was something else that popped in my head pretty quick, and it's gone that fast. I'll come back to it. We'll figure it out. So here's our tryout schedule. This information is on our website. I put it here. It's kind of condensed, a little clunky looking, but I know you guys want to be able to get all of that information, together, all in one screen, so you guys can see it. So the way it works out this year is that we're having, in the past, we've had the first round of tryouts during the middle school season, basically, and then the second round of tryouts have happened right after the high school season. So this year, the powers that be decided that all of the tryouts needed to be in July. So we were having all of the tryouts, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, all the way through 18-year-olds that week, July 7th through, what is that? I can't see it. July 10th, I think it is. Through 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever it is. So all of the tryouts are happening at that time. And so one of the things that's different this year, and we'll go over it in a second, is that tryouts are now one day. So in the past, we've had, if you guys would mute yourselves, I'd appreciate it. You kind of creating some background noise there. So we have had tryouts on day 1. We pick a lot of our teams, and there's a day 2 where we finalize the teams. We're not doing that now. It's a one-day tryout, and then there's a makeup tryout at the end for the teams that we didn't fill up, but we're not reserving any spots on day 1. So we'll talk about what that means again in just a second. Any questions at this point? I do have one in the chat. Will there be other makeup? Will there be other makeup days? So we've got 2 makeups on the schedule right now. So the 2 makeups are on the schedule right this second. Realistically, the first one is meant to be more for Elite and National, and the second one is meant to be more for Premier and ATL. However, Elite and National can come with the Premier and ATL one. Then there will be another day in August or September where we have an additional tryout for kids that had not planned to play club that will have the opportunity to come in, but we have not put that together. We've not posted that yet. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can run through these things. My daughter 12s will be in overnight camp in July. We'll get there. If you make a national team, you also try out from your team. We'll talk about that as well. No, but we'll talk about why not in just a second. What if we're out of town? We'll talk about that. We'll get great. 14 and you show up for the 14 try. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. So I'm going to cover all of that stuff in just a second. Don't sweat that. Okay, so here we go. Let me see if I can get my thing to work. All right, so let's go to the heart of a little bit of who we are, just so you guys will know, and you guys who have played for us now, maybe not in some of the older age groups, but have seen a little bit of what we're trying to do from a competitive standpoint. One of the things that we do better than anybody else is our recruiting program. But when I say better than anybody else, I mean there's nobody else in the southern region that is close to doing what we do. We use 2 primary sources. Sports recruits and Huddle. We use Huddle for all of our elite teams, and sports recruits for all of our athletes that want to participate in the recruiting process. We absolutely ask that our athletes do a good bit of work, but we give them all the tools that are available. And then once we make our teams, there'll be a recruited meeting where we meet with all of the athletes that are 15 and up, and we go over all the guidelines of what our expectations are, what their expectations should be, what the steps are to make it happen, all of that kind of stuff. So the real question is it working? Well, this is our class of 2023. Now, understanding that this was COVID year, there are still 5th-year seniors in there. There are kids that still have COVID years available. And we were still able to put 17 kids on college teams out of about 22 or 23 that actually wanted to play in college. 17 of them are getting that opportunity. And a couple of the others have turned down offers just because it wasn't the offer they wanted, but they got offers. So our kids are getting the opportunity to play in and there's my dog barking, getting the opportunity to play in college. So this is just running through. This was the last COVID year. So I'm just going to run through some of these things. If you look, you will see that there is everything. We have high Division I, Penn State, UCF. Both of those guys were top 10 in the country that year. We've got everything. Every college in Georgia has kids from our club in it. LaGrange on here. You've got Middle Georgia. So there's a good bit. We've got Mercer. So if you want to play in college, you can do that here. And our kids are playing at some of the highest level programs: Notre Dame, Baylor, Penn State. Our kids are there. So I know there's this question, hey, can we do it? Can we get what we want? Can we play in college? Yes, absolutely. So here's all this. I'm not going to go through all of this. You can see Georgia Tech. We've sent bunches and bunches and bunches of kids to Georgia Tech, Louisville, UNC. So this is just kind of HBCUs. Tons. We've got plenty of kids playing in a bunch of these colleges. So that was just our last few years of recruiting. So here are the big questions. So we have this past year, we used East Cobb Middle, we used McCleskey, we used Tsunami Cobb, and we used Kennesaw Parks and Rec. Sorry, a little doggy dog barking there. So this year we have added 5 additional courts at our Tsunami Cobb facility. That will allow us to not use East Cobb Middle and to not use Kennesaw Parks and Rec anymore. We will now be at our 8 courts at our Cobb facility, and then we will continue to use the 4 courts at McCleskey as overflow. So right now, 90% of let me say it this way: all of our elite, all of our national, all of our premier practices are all at our Tsunami gym. Then all of our ATL, they practice Mondays and Wednesdays, and they are at McCleskey once and Cobb once. So we're able to use our facility. Now you don't have to worry about, you live on this side of town and we're going to send you over there. You live over there, we're going to send you over there. We're going to be at Cobb or McCleskey. And if you're elite national premier, you're going to be at our Cobb location. So we're super excited about that. And the schedule is already put together. So we have that. And if you guys will remind me, I will talk about the practice schedule a little bit later on and what we're doing. All right. What is the address for the Kennesaw Center? It's 1300 Cobb Industrial. It is literally across the street from McCullum Field. So McCullum Field, the airfield right there on 41 in Chastain. We're across the street in one of the office places there. Okay. So, and I'm looking at some of your other questions down here. Don't sweat it. We're gonna cover all that information when we get there, and I will go through the rest of the chat in just a second, make sure we've covered everything. So we're going to go over the season fees. I know that's what you guys are here for, because everybody's worried we're going to start in July and all of a sudden the fees are going to go up and all that kind of good stuff. We'll talk about that. It's it ain't going to be bad. All right. So season fees, tuition for us includes everything you would pay to Tsunami. We specifically spell out there are no additional uniform fees. There are no additional coaching fees, no additional traveling fees, no additional any fees that you would pay to Tsunami for what we're selling you up front. So, and what I mean by that is, at the end of the season for our ATL and Premier and some of our national teams, we give you guys the option to go on and play at AAU Nationals, and that is for an additional fee. But that's, you know it up front. You're not paying for that up front. Everybody knows it. So everything that we give you in the number is everything that you will pay to Tsunami. Understand that on our tuition for our 13 Elite through 18 Elite and our 15 National through 18 National, that the July Nationals tournament is included in your tuition. So when you're looking across the numbers, you'll see 13 Elite is more expensive than, say, 13 National. It's because you added an additional 6 weeks of practice, and you added an additional big tournament and another small tournament to go with it. So understand that everything, I'm going to repeat this, everything that we're charging you guys is included in this tuition. Every year I get the phone call from somebody that says, I'm so sorry, I thought I was getting a cheaper deal, and they just hit me with the uniform fee. So I lost a kid for my 12s last year that was like, we're going to play for you, we're going to play for you. And another club came in, $1,500 cheaper. Then they hit him with, after they had signed, they hit him with the uniform fee and the travel fee and the coaching fee. And all of a sudden they're spending $1 bazillion more. So everything, I'll repeat that, everything that you owe to Tsunami is in that original tuition. You can budget for it from the very, very beginning. And new this year, because tryouts are in July, this is one of the perks of tryouts in July, you can now pay your season over 10 months. So instead of these big whopping payments over 4 months, you can spread it out over 10 months or however many months your season is. Starting in July, you can make July, August, whatever, through whenever your season ends, April. So I think that's 10 months, whatever it is. But you have payment plans that are significantly more spread out, which should make it easier on all of us. All right, here we go. This is into the big stuff. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so here we go. So our elite teams, again, these are the guys that are traveling the most, and there will be on our website all this information. It's not right now because I don't want to put it out until we've done elite. I mean, we've done Cobb and we've done North and we've done South information sessions, but there'll be a spreadsheet that says this. Elite teams at 14 and under are going to go to 2 national qualifiers. They'll go to Orlando and Big South. Plus, they'll play a really heavy tournament, good tournament schedule. Our 15s through 18s at the elite level will play 3 national qualifiers, and they'll play a really heavy quality tournament schedule. The figure that you have here is everything that you would owe. It's the uniforms. It's everything. It's everything that you would owe to Tsunami, and that covers your coaching, your travel, your uniforms, your everything, your practice fees, everything. So that's where we are with our fees, and it's pretty simple. Our 18-1 team is $47.50. You're going to divide that by 10 payments, and that's pretty much what your schedule would be. So any questions about that? Raise your hand, yell out if you do, because I can't see your hands, and I can see the chat, but we'll get there in time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our national. So this is the one where it's a little bit less travel. So your prices are a little bit less. This is our national fees for the season. Again, same exact thing, going to be spread out over 10 months. And again, we will put this all together where you can see it. All right, and then Premier is here. These are the guys that are regional, 2 practices a week, but still a good tournament schedule. A couple of travel tournaments. They'll play Big South at the older ages. They do not at the younger ages, and that's the difference in that pricing there. And then our ATL pricing is here. These are the local guys that are playing, I think it's 7 or 8 tournaments that are all within the Atlanta area. So let me see if I can close that out. Good. Okay, so that's our pricing model. Now, I love it when it does it. Here we go. So now let's see if I can pause this thing so it doesn't jump ahead. Make absolutely sure I'm in the right spot. Good. Here's where it starts to get into all the stuff that you guys that are veterans of this, or this is, you wanted the numbers that were just then, and you want to know this information. So the next 2 screens are probably the most important stuff. So if you're cooking dinner, you kind of maybe turn the volume up just a little bit. All right, what level do I try out for? So we always say try out for the highest level that you would want to play. And we structure our tryouts in that manner, meaning our elite tryouts are first, then our national, then our premier, and then our ATL, and then our select is after trial. Okay, so the intention being, if you, I don't know, I'd play on an elite team if I made it. Okay, well then come to the elite trials. It is the only thing that's going to happen is we're going to say congratulations or I'm sorry. And so if you don't make it, then all you do is you come back to the next level trials. Now, elite and national are at the same time, so that's kind of easy to do. But elite and national at the same time. And if you don't make the elite and national, you come back for the premier trials. If you don't make the premier trials, and you come back to the ATL trials. And we do have kids that do both. Now, you only pay for 1 tryout registration. So if you come to elite and you don't make it, you don't have to re-register. Just show up. It'll be totally fine. There's no additional registration. You're just invited back automatically. If you don't make it on the first one, come back to the next one. Now, someone had said, can I try out for the national team and the premier team? I will tell you that as a club, we hate that because I'm saving a spot for you on the night. Let's say she's good enough to make the national team or the elite team or whatever, and I save her that spot. Now you're going to go try out for the premier team. Here go my dogs again. Sorry. Now you're going to try out for the premier team. You're going to try out for the premier team. And now I'm supposed to hold 2 spots for you. And so I don't want to do that. So the answer to your question is no. If you accept the national spot, take the national spot. Do not go. Sorry. The dogs are supposed to be upstairs with the kids. So we don't want you to try out for both. Now, unless you don't make the one, but if you make the one, take the one. So going on, I'm sorry, the dogs distract us there. When you announce teams, we announce teams that night. This is something that's different for us than a lot of the other clubs. You come in the gym, we do all the evaluating, we put everything together. Before you leave, you get an offer from us that says, congratulations, you've made this team, or we would like to see you come back for the next level of tryout, whatever that is. You're going to get one of those two envelopes. And so here's what's different. When do I commit? This is new. You now need to have a plan when you come in the gym. The region no longer wants us to give you a 5-day period or a 10-day period as we've done in the past. It is, if you walk out of the gym, it is you saying you don't want that spot and we can hold it for you, or we can move on to the next person and go ahead and offer it. So it stinks in a lot of ways because it puts a lot of pressure on you guys to decide. So here's what we say: get in our gym early and find out if you want to play here. Get in, experience our camps, experience our clinics, experience the way we teach, experience our coaches, experience everything about our club. And if you want to play here, then try out here. And then you know full well that you will then get offered a spot. And it will offer you a spot at the end. Because in June, we are going to tell you the whole time you're in June, and this is one of the things we talk about today, the whole time you're in June, we're going to talk to you about where you fit within our club. And so we're going to, every time you're in May and June, you'll get feedback from tryouts once you've registered for tryouts. We've got a cross-reference between our registrations and our tryout registrations so that we'll know when you sign up for something if you're coming to tryouts. And so that we will use that information to give you feedback. So you'll go into tryout having a pretty good idea. Now, it's possible that 6 Olympians show up in your age group and everything we've told you is true, but you still may not make the team we all thought you were going to make because these superstars come in. So there is that possibility, but there's a possibility that they don't come as well. It's just part of the gamble. And again, how many days of tryouts? 1 day per team, 1 day per level, 1 day per age group. And so this is, when is the first payment due? The first payment is due to reserve your spot. So when you accept that spot, we ask for your first payment right away. And so that is, it is not the big whopping deposit like we've done in the past. This is much smaller. It would be one of your 10 payments, but it is a first payment then, and that's how you save your spot. So I think all of that covered all of that. And so here we go. When do I meet my coach and my team? You're going to meet your coach that minute. At some point during that night, we will also have all the kids together that are playing together, at least to an extent. And I would say, we're going to put X number of kids on the team. We'll have, 10 of the 12 on a court together during trial, with that coach being part of that grouping. So you'll know the coach, you'll see a lot of the kids around you. And so when you join us, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to put your down payment check down to hold your spot. And then on September 1st, that same email that you got from us last year after trials that said, hey, do you want to commit to play at Tsunami Volleyball, accept your assignment? You're going to get that email on September 1st to accept your assignment. You accept the assignment, and then you're official. So that's your SRVA registration. So the big questions, these are the things. Okay, so let me skip this. So how do I try out for multiple clubs? That's going to be tough to do this year. So I say the exact same thing I've always said. Figure out where you want to go play. Go to that club. Try and make that team. Get in the gym early. Get in the gym extended. Go spend time with those people and find out where you stand. Then, if you don't make the team that you want, then you start blowing up people's phones trying to get in the gym for other spots. I promise you, you're not going to get cut out. There are always going to be teams that are looking for good athletes. So there's a place to play for 99% of you guys. So 2 big questions. What happens in July and August? When's the first practice? I know some of the other clubs are like, if you're going to play for us, you don't need to play high school ball. You need to keep no, we 100% support our high school athletes. A lot of our coaches coach high school ball. We encourage them to do so. We give them the time off. Those are in the office to go do so. Because we acknowledge the role that high school sports have in a kid's life. I say this to our kids all the time. You're never going to have a 10-year club reunion, but you'll have a 10-year high school reunion. You'll have a 15-year high school reunion, a 25-year high school reunion. And those are the people you've been with since elementary school. Those are the people you need to play with. And I say the same thing to kids who are like, my high school team's not very good. I don't really want to play high school ball. Yeah, you do. You do. Go, if they're not very good, go play a position you don't normally play. You're a middle, go be a setter. Go run the team. Go have a great time. So we encourage you guys to do that a good bit. Now, in July and August, we will do the same thing that we did last year. We will have stuff that you can come to. We will have opportunities to get in the gym. We will have trainings. We will have all those things going on. But we fully expect you to be engaged with your high school teams as much as is possible. So if you happen to not be on a team, there's plenty of stuff to do to get in the gym. Will we be getting the teams together? Yes, but there will not be a ton of organized team practices in July and August because, again, we want you out of the gym a little bit. We want you to go do your high school thing. We want you to go do that. So that's who we are and how we're handling it. And as I said, I know there's some other clubs that are not doing it that way, and that's on them, and they can do things, how they want to do. Your first official practice will be at the same time, basically, that it was this past year. So all the 14 and under kids, when your middle school season is over, we're going to start having practices. We'll go ahead and get you in the gym, a week or two after the middle school season's over. You guys will be having practices, and we'll probably ramp up slowly. We'll probably do some Sunday afternoon stuff, and then some midweek training stuff, and then practices will begin a little bit later on. High school kids will do the when your high school season is over, we'll start running stuff in the interim. We'll run stuff in the interim, but we're not intentionally planning stuff where you have to be in the gym. And then as soon as the high school season is over, that's when your practices start, and we'll go on from there. So here's the big one, and this is one when I sent out the original dates on email to our club families. I probably got 100 to 125 emails from people saying, we're not going to be there. We're going to be gone. We're out of town. What in the world do I do? What in the world do I do? Okay. So it's going to be fairly simple. And I want to say this pretty clearly. What I'm about to offer is not for those of you guys who want to go try out in other clubs. You need to man up. And if that's what you want to do, you go do that. This is for our families who are going to be gone. They have already got trips planned, and they still want to play. If it were any other day, they would be coming to try out and everything would be normal. But they've already planned that trip to Spain or Istanbul or wherever it is that they're going. And we have a lot of those families. This is normally the high school dead week, and so people get out of town as fast as they can before the high school season starts. So here's what we're going to do. Once all of this is put together, and as I said, all the information sessions are over, you guys will get an email from us, and it'll be up on the website on the Tryout information page. For those of you guys who are not on our email list, it'll be on the Tryout information page. Today's Wednesday. It'll be up by next Wednesday. There's a link where you can go and sign up. And on that link, you will go put in your athlete's name, what team she was on this year, if it was a Tsunami team or if it was another team, or she's never played club before, all that information, what position she is, how long she's played, and you'll get the opportunity to tell us all about her, and then we'll ask you to upload a headshot. So some of us will know kids, not necessarily by name, but we'll know them by face, and so that'll give us a bit of information on your kid, and then you'll have the opportunity to say in that spreadsheet, I want to be placed on a team. I want to be considered for a team. I will take whatever you give me, or I'll take a spot if it is what I did this year or a higher level. I'm interested in that. And so at that point, we will put you guys, all of those people, we will put you on teams. And here's how you make that work. It's real easy for me to say right now, but it is going to be a nightmare come tryout time unless you are in the gym in May and June, and we're giving you all of these tryout critiques, for lack of a better word, but we're evaluating you during the camps and clinics and stuff, and we're going to upload that information into our spreadsheet so that we'll have tryout evaluations on your kid before we get to tryout. So again, this is only for the people who are out of town, who legitimately they can't be here. It's not a thing so that you can go try out in other clubs. That's not fair. But it will be for those who are out of town. We will put 99.9% of you guys on a team, and we'll figure out how to make it work. And so it's going to have its challenges. We will probably be in touch with you, extra questions, all those kinds of things, especially those of you guys who did not play for us this season. You will have to be in our gym in June. And that's not a sales tool. I'm not trying to fill up our camps, although that, certainly would make me happy. But it's the only way we're going to be able to do tryouts at this time, because there's so many people that are going to be gone. So I hope that answers that question. I hope it didn't create a million more questions. Hopefully that is what we needed to hear. Let me see if I can move this thing to the next one. Come on. There we go. Again, these are some of the things that we're running: training for tryouts, our positionals, and our camps. May and June evaluations. All of this is important. The thing that we don't have on our schedule yet that we will run, we run our invites, which are only our elite kids, only our elite and national kids. Invitation only come in at set times by age group that we get the best kids together. Our real issue here is that we have from Tsunami, we have 51 individual teams playing at USAV or AAU Nationals. So of those 51 teams, there are a whole bunch of our elite kids that are in the gym already Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. And so we will, those of you who are still practicing, that time will absolutely be used for tryout evaluations. And so that you'll be able to have an idea of where you stand going into the next season, because you'll be able to have conversations with us as we go. But we will also ask you guys to come into the invite sessions, because there'll be new kids that want to come in and they want to see the level of play. And so we're going to invite all the 14s, all the rising 14s, all the rising 15s. We'll get you guys together to train together and compete. It'll probably be Saturday mornings or Wednesday nights or something like that. We just get in the gym and just kind of bang it around at each other and do some training outside of your existing team. So May and June be in the gym, May and June be in the gym, May and June be in the gym. Practice schedule. So this was something we were not able to do this past year. We are able to do it this year. I promise there will be a change to this, but it'll be minuscule. Every single one of our elite and national teams are practicing at Tsunami Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. It's just built into the schedule. The younger kids will be in the 5:30 to 7:30 range. The older kids will be in the 7:30 to 9:30 range. All of our elite and national kids, and this is new. Now, one of the things that I've had conversations with lots of parents this year, one of the hardest things for me and the hardest things for Trina and Howie and Amanda, all of us that put the coaching schedules together for this year was getting the coaching schedules right. And I don't mean by the schedules, I mean putting the right coaches in the right places. I have a certain way that I want to do things. And so poor Trina and poor Amanda and poor Howie had to work around my opinions on things with me not knowing who the coaches were. I still have my own opinions on things. So we're going to be running at the beginning of all of our elite and national practices for November, December. We will be master coaching those. You guys, all of our elite and national teams will have the opportunity to work with the coaching staff from Kennesaw State, myself, all of our elite level coaches will all be in the gym working on Sundays with our elite and national teams. Our elite and national teams also on Tuesdays will have positional practice from the beginning of the season until probably the beginning of February, when we really break off into tournament season pretty heavily. So those two things happened on a small scale this year. This year, but it was difficult this year because they weren't all in the gym at the same time. But now all of our elite nationals will be together on Tuesday nights. They're in 8 courts all at the same time. We will be able to run this the way it was intended, where all of the pins, 13s through 18s, will all go and they'll be spread out on 3 different courts. So they'll be divided by good, better, best, and they will be working with some of our most elite coaches. We'll do the same thing with setters and the same thing with middles. And then as that will evolve, they'll go to the combo groups and all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be exciting. What we've done down south, which has helped our growth a good bit, we're finally able to do it because we're all in the same building, the same place. So huge difference this upcoming season. So we're super excited about that. Our Premier and ATL teams will also have the opportunity to be master coached. Garrett Bitter, we've offered him the spot to run our master coaching. Garrett is one of the assistant coaches at Kennesaw State, and we're asking him to master coach all of our ATL practices and one of our 2 Premier practices. And so you'll get college level practice planning and training on our Premier and ATL teams. Ain't nobody else doing that. Nobody. So we're super excited about how that will help consistency from top to bottom with what we teach. And we're super excited how that will help make sure that all of our kids are getting pushed by high level coaching, and we'll have support. There's a lot of coaches that we're bringing in this year that are super high level coaches that were not here last year, that will be able to provide additional support for all of our coaches. So we're super excited. And I am as pleased as I can be with our coaching staff from last year. We had some of them in the wrong age groups and the wrong locations. And so we're making some of those changes. And our long-term goal is that we put a coach at a level and we leave them there. So I coach 12s at South, and I I've done it for 10 years, and I will stay at 12 as long as I want to continue coaching, because I know things about 12s that other coaches don't know about 12s. And so when you bank them around and bounce them around, you miss on some of the little nuances. We can get our coaches the same levels and keep them there. It will be 1,000 times better long-term for all of our coaches and for our athletes. So our premier teams will practice on Sundays and Wednesdays, with the exception of 14-1 Premier. Amanda is our head coach at 14-1 Premier, and it is her, she needs to be in the office on Mondays and Wednesdays, so that one team will practice Mondays and Wednesdays. Sorry, Amanda, to call you out. You're going to get called out on the chat group anyway. And then our ATLs are Mondays and Wednesdays, and then our select teams are all Mondays. So we're super excited about this. The ATL kids, as I said, will be at Tsunami one day and McCluskey the other. Elite National Premier, you guys are Elite and National all at Cobb. I think Premier all at Cobb. If not, it's only one day a week, but I think they're all at Cobb. So anyway, we're pretty excited about how that looks. Let me see what else I got here. All right, so travel and housing, those of you guys who played, you know this. Some of you guys coming from other clubs might see this a little differently. We will help you with housing on things that are stay-to-play events. We're stuck with whatever USAV or the governing body gives us. We have to stay in those hotels. But for the ones that we don't have to use stay-to-play, we will book rooms for travel. Then you can call and stay in those blocks or not. You can call and get your own. If you want to go to the Motel 6 or the Ritz, we're gonna book kind of a middle-of-the-road hotel, and hopefully you guys will stay in that block. But it's certainly not necessary. But the one thing that we do differently is we do not put our athletes in rooms together. I don't want the liability, and quite frankly, I don't want to pay for an extra room. I'm going to pay for my wife and I to travel. I don't want to pay another 25% for my kid to go stay somewhere else when she can stay with me for the cost of one room. And so that's kind of why we do it. We have no problem at all if 3 or 4 moms want to get together and send their kids with one mom and you guys all stay in a room together. Great. 100% in favor for it. Love it. So we're excited about that. And we've got a couple of teams who really want to push the camaraderie of being in a hotel together. And so they've done that. And that's great. I support it and encourage it. But as an organization, we're going to give you parents the opportunity to travel with your kids. So the one thing that your tuition does not cover is travel and housing. We're not paying for the rooms. We're not paying, for gas or flights or whatever. That's on you for your family. But your tuition covers everything else you would pay to Tsunami. I've rattled off a lot. We're almost finished here. Once the last information session is run, we will put up on the website the tournament schedule. Mainly what we'll put up is what each level is doing, and then a suggested schedule. And that suggested schedule will be correct 95%. But there are always some things that change. Tournaments don't make, they were supposed to make. And so I don't want you to go ahead and book your housing based on that schedule we're going to put up, because there will certainly be some changes. We just don't know what they are. But all that information will be put up on our website. All right. So we've announced these coaches so far. And so these guys are coming back. This is what our coaching staff looks like. I'm super excited about that group. We've got a couple of coaches coming back. Sarah Kaczynski is coming back. That was at Cobb. It's coming back now. We're excited to have her coach. There are a couple of teams that we haven't announced because we just haven't announced them yet. So I'm not going to put them on here, but all of that information is coming. We have probably 90% of our coaching staff put together already. So before you go to tryouts, you will know who the coaches are. Before you get to June, you'll know who the coaches are, probably 90%. So at this moment, we don't have a page where all those are listed on the website, but we will. And it will be linked on the tryout page, so you'll be able to find that information. All right, we're only at 45 minutes. So I've thrown out a lot of information in only 45 minutes, and that's a win as far as I'm concerned. All right, so this is all of our social media. And that was the other thing, going back here, on our Instagram page is where we post all of our coaches. So if you're not following us at Tsunami Cobb V-Ball, then please do. That's where we're posting all of these, and our Facebook page, Tsunami Cobb Facebook page. That's where we're posting all this information on who our coaches are. So you guys can follow along and comment and all that kind of stuff. So here are all of the social media pages for us. We hope you guys will write some of those down. And again, this is being recorded, so I'll post it on YouTube, so you can fast forward to this page and see it. And so you'll have access to all this information. And this is all the contact information. So the people that you really need to know off of this list are Heather Stanton, info@tsunamivolleyball.com, goes to Heather and it goes to myself. Heather's our lead admin. She's our original Tsunami, not original Tsunami mommy, but she's one of our oldest and dearest Tsunami mommies, and she has been taking care of the club for a long time now. She has our lead admin, and then Amanda Gomez is our lead admin at Cobb, and so she gets all of your phone calls and all of your emails and stuff. And so she's done a great job for us, and we're excited about that. So anyway, so those are the two that you need to know the most. And then my information is down here as well. The club office is there, and my phone number, I put it in most of our emails, so you have access to me if you need me. Happy to do so. My email address is jeff@tsunamivolleyball.com. I will tell you, my phone rings a lot. I get a lot of text messages and I get a lot of emails. So if I ignore you, I'm really probably not ignoring you. I just probably, you got scrolled through as my email was looking like a ticker tape. I try to answer all the emails that we get. And last night I got 20 voicemails, so evidently my phone's jacked up too. So anyway, so that is our slideshow in a nutshell. I know Amanda has been on the chat. I'm going to, you guys are welcome at this point to unmute yourselves. Let me see. Amanda, are there any questions in here that I need to answer specifically? I do see one about showing the levels and the prices again. Let me see if it'll let me just zip through them.
If you can talk about the first payment, when that's due, and then also what is included in the team tuition.
Okay, so first payment. All right, team tuition. All right. So first payment will be due tryouts. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have asked the region what it means, and they have not answered. I've emailed the top two guys, and I've emailed them a number of times, and I just haven't had a chance to call them. But my understanding is the way it's supposed to work is you can give us a check, and then in order to, once you commit, like, yes, I'm in, you make your first payment. Your first payment will be $300 or $400, depending on what we're looking at. Now, that part may change, but I don't know. And that's part of this all being new to all of us, and we'll have to figure that out. But that's the way I see it going down right now, and that you would go and set up a payment plan that runs whatever that $300 or $400 payment is until your tuition is paid off, rather than some of these $600 and $700 a month payments, $800 a month payments that we currently have to charge. So that tuition covers, again, everything that you would owe to Tsunami. It's uniforms, it's coaching fees, it's the coach's travel, it's gym space, it's the air conditioning, which, by the way, we have air conditioning in the building now, in both sets, the 5 courts and the 8 courts. So it's everything that you would pay to Tsunami except your travel. That's the only thing that is not covered in that tuition. Amanda, did that answer that correctly? I mean, did I answer? Is that what you were asking?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. If I didn't answer your question, like, type it again in the chat, and Amanda will get back with you. Amanda, was there anything else? Or we'll get back with you. We'll answer it again. Amanda, was there anything else that I did not cover? I'm going to run through these slides again quickly.
There's questions about coaches coaching multiple teams.
Coaches coaching multiple teams. Again, last year was a little bit of a nightmare of us trying to chase down the coaching staff at the last minute. For those of you guys who weren't aware, when I say we were under the gun, I mean we were under the gun. So this year, we are 100% where every team has a head coach. Where we have a coach coaching 2 teams, the assistant coach is another head coach. So there's nobody that's coaching 2 teams and the same team, meaning we won't ever have a team that doesn't have one of their coaches. So that was a big change from what we had to do last year. So if you played with us last year, like, that part was terrible. It was. We didn't like it either. We just didn't have enough bodies. And then, unfortunately, we had a couple of bodies that we lost because one of our board members got sick and he was coaching 2 teams, and all of a sudden we're kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit. So we were chasing that down. But that is not going to be the case this upcoming season. In fact, we have some teams that are going to have 3 coaches on them because they're going to be helping out with some coaches are not head coaching. They're going to be helping out with a couple of teams. So we're going to be overcoached at this point, which is exactly what we want to what we want to have happen. So
Jeff,
select prices. Yes, go ahead.
sorry, Jeff, this is Trina.
Yes.
One of the big questions from this season, and of course I'm seeing it a lot on the chat, is can the players forego the shoes that are included in the package? How does that work?
So the answer to that, unfortunately, is no. That's part of our contract with Nike. Now, I'll tell you what we're working on right this second. We have because we are one of Nike's largest customers, we have BSN. We're one of BSN's largest customers as a Nike customer. And so we are in negotiations with Nike right now to make a custom shoe for us that they'll be able to buy as a high top or a low top. And it'll be a custom shoe designed for our kids. And at that point, our elite and national teams will have to take that shoe. And when they're playing, and they're going to get their picture made, they have to be wearing that Nike shoe. So it is not an option to drop it from the thing. In the grand scheme of things, for the amount of money you're spending that pair of shoes, we have to take it because that's part of our contract with Nike. So we are a Nike sponsored club. And so it's just where we are.
Jeff, can you talk about where this video will be posted after it's recorded?
So I'm going to post it to YouTube, and then I will put it on our website. I will not post it until the last information session, just because people will watch this video and see the Cobb prices, and they're different than North and Rome and Central Georgia and all those other places. So I don't want to throw it out until all of them are out and everybody understands, what the differences are. And so, but I'll post on YouTube, and then we'll post it on our website. It'll be linked on our website as well. So it'll be on the tryout page for Cobb.
Jeff, do you have a tryout date for the Select League?
So Select League will happen, Amanda, it is after we start our regular season with our club teams. Correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda. It's after we start our regular, and it's a select, it's just a sign up, correct?
Select League will have an evaluation tryout. There won't be any cuts if we can make that happen. Those tryouts will be after all of the club tryouts.
Correct. So it should be, that is something we can wait a little later on. So it will probably be in August, because that will let you have started your, you will have major school team or not major school team. That's one of the decisions that a lot of kids determine whether they want to play or not. So it'll be after the school season has started for sure. And you said something that reminded me of something else. At 14 and under, it is our goal to not cut any athlete. So if your kid wants to play on a team at Tsunami Cobb, we will do our absolute best. If the numbers work out, we will put everybody 14 and under on a team. The only time we have an issue with that is if we end up with a team of 5 kids or 6 kids. That's not going to happen, because that's not good for the kids at all. But if we can put you on a team, we will put you on a team at 14 and under. So we've been able to do it so far at 13 and under. And we're going to try and expand that to 14 and under this season.
Jeff, can you talk about the training and evaluations that coaches go through before the season starts?
As far as, I will say that at South, we run a coaching clinic, and we work with our coaches, and we're in one facility, and we're easily able to see and work with our coaches. That was not an option. Trina did the best she could. Bree was in the gym. Garrett was in the gym. Working with coaches a good bit. I ran practices at some of the master coaching and some of the career things to try and get it done. But so this season will be different. It'll be the first time. So I can't talk about what we've done in the past. I can talk about what we're going to do. There will be coaches meetings this season where we teach everything that we want our coaches to understand. And then the biggest thing is that master coaching in November and December, our elite level top dog coaches will be running practices for teams that are not their own team. So they'll be in the gym with, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams with a coaching plan. And we've got it, drawn out of what we want to see in November, December, where we start with this and finish with this. And so those elite level coaches will be coaching our coaches during that time. We'll be talking keywords. We'll be talking what we want to see. So What we've done in the past, I can't tell you because it was a little bit hit or miss is what it was. But going forward, it is going to be exactly what I want it to be, in that our top coaches get the opportunity to work with tons and tons and tons of our kids and tons and tons and tons of our coaches. So, and then there are some continuing education things that we're going to do that are part of the Art of Coaching Volleyball and part of USA Volleyball now. It used to be called CAP courses that we're intending to put our coaches through, but that will happen over the summer.
Jeff, also a question is there a way to reserve a court space? And if so, is there a cost?
So yes and maybe. For right now, every single court we have access to is packed because we're not in that 5-court facility yet. So right now the answer is no, not on your life. Please, please don't try it. But once that 5 space opens, which by the way, the fire marshal did approve it today, which means that we now just need to be rubber stamped, and we should be within 2 weeks of being able to get in there. But so once that space is open, there will be some available space. It can be reserved if it's our kids that play for us and it's a dad that wants to come in and just work with his kid for a few minutes before practice or after practice or something like that. I don't want to charge you as long as there aren't 500 people trying to get in. We have parents who come in all the time after practice and they spend 30 minutes with their kids serving, and that's great. Love that. Have at it. I'm not charging you for that. If you want to reserve and you're going to run private lessons and that kind of stuff, then we're going to have a different conversation about who you are and what your credentials are. And, now we start to create a liability for the club. So somewhere in there is the answer that whoever asked that question is probably looking for. It's realistically probably a conversation that I need to have with that parent as far as what we're working with. Because I don't want to open up liability to ourselves, but at the same time, I want our kids in the gym with their parents. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. All right. What else? What else? Amanda, is there anything else in the chat that I missed that I need to run back through?
I think I've answered pretty much all of them in the chat.
Okay. If there's something I've missed and you want to put it in the chat, go ahead, please, and type it up. Trina's here, Amanda's here, I'm here. We can answer most of this stuff. If there is, or unmute yourself and scream it out, and I'm good with either of those things.
Hi, Jeff. I have a quick question. For the 17 elite and nationals, how many teams do you plan on having for the elite and nationals for 17? So
we judge based on what we had this past year, and I know we had 16-1 and 2 elite. We had 16-1 and 2 national. Was there a 16-3 national this year, Amanda? There was not. Okay. So we had 4, and our goal is to have 4 17s that are the same way. So at each age group, our goal, at the younger ages, the numbers, we want numbers. At the older ages, we really want 1 elite, 2 elite, 1 national, 2 national. And then if there's, if the gym is crowded with great athletes, we would make another one. But our thought would be 17-1, 17-2. Elite, 17-1, 17-2 national would be our goal.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Jeff, can you go back to the pricing page? Somebody's asking why 11 ATL is more expensive than 11 national.
11 ATL, 1,900. And 11 national. That's a really good question. That's a good question, and I don't know. And the guy who manages our budget is in Korea. Otherwise, I would call him and ask him that question. So obviously, there's at least one mistake on our pricing, which I will figure out. So when we post this online, I'll correct that. And there'll be a sheet. There'll be a sheet that's a synopsis of all of this, and that'll be up, like I said, by next Wednesday. So I don't know why.
Jeff, can you address
Thank you for pointing that out.
Why we only have 2 teams for 18U?
Yeah, so we've got, right now we have 17-1 elite, 17-2 elite, so 17-1 elite, 17-1 national. So we just have 2 teams, correct? So after 17s, you typically lose kids not gain kids. So we know there were some 18 premier kids that are 17-year-olds that are talking about sticking around because Alex is coaching the team again. And so we know that there'll be enough to make 2 teams at 18s. If we have more kids come out, we have practice space, we have court space, we have all those things for it. Just typically you don't increase from 17s to 18s because just most of those kids are like, I'm senior, I want to go to prom, I'm finished my high school season, I'm out of here to college, and so you lose a bunch of kids. So it's not by our choice. I'd make 6 18 teams if I could. All right. So I saw the thing about coaches. We have announced the coaches for elite up through, I think, 16, 17s. So some of those I didn't. I forgot that we had actually announced the 13 to 14 to 15 to. I forgot that we had announced those names. If you'll go to our Instagram, it's on there. You can see it. And once I'll put that coaching information up on the website, so you'll have it. It's I know 14-2 is Savannah. 13-2 is Amanda, off the top of your head.
13-2 is Christine. Could you address how she's going to be able to coach 13-2 elite and 15-1 elite?
Yep. So she has I'd have to look at that list. She's one of the ones that has 2. She has an extra head coach. So her assistant coach at 13s is another head coach capable person. So when she's with the 15s, there's another head coach with the 13s. We just like Christine. She's super organized. She is early to get there. She's super communicative with all of her families. And so she's one of the 3 or 4 people in the gym that I'm like, I need her coaching 2 teams. So she's done an amazing job for us this season. So, and she had 2 teams this past season. So, but one of her 2, I don't remember which one it is. One of the 2 has an additional head coach as the assistant coach, someone who can manage the team. So, but there's never a time when one of the 2 of them won't be there.
Another question, Jeff. Oh, sorry, Amanda.
Just performance training.
Yeah. So yeah. So, oh gosh, I can't believe I didn't say that. Yeah. So all of our elite and national teams will continue performance training, except now that we're all in the Cobb gym, they will all be on-site training. So this past season, we had kids at McCleskey, they had to come over, or they had to do an in-home workout. So nope, it'll be Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. There'll be performance training as part of their practice time frame. So Corey, who is our performance trainer, has done a great job with the kids. He's super thoughtful about planning it out. And so it's been tough on him because kids are coming from all over and him not being able to see them and stuff. So he's super excited. Our new 5-court space also has an additional workout space there in center court. So he's excited about what he's going to be able to do with everybody being in the same location. So that will continue for elite and national teams this season.
Jeff, can you mention Pinnacle and Heloise?
Yeah. So we are one of the only people I know of that has Pinnacle Orthopedics, one of the largest Cobb County, I think they're bigger than that, but they're huge children's healthcare space, sports medicine place. One of their lead people is Heloise. Heloise also runs an athletic trainer company of her own. She is in our building. So on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, when we have practices with all of these teams in the gym at the same time, she is there. She has an office in our building where she can see our kids on site. She can help with wrapping ankles and all that kind of stuff if it needs it. But if something hurts, we send our kids there. That is huge added value to our families that nobody else has. But we have an athletic trainer / whatever her official title is at Pinnacle in our building, and she has a QR code on her window that even if she's not there, you can schedule an appointment with her just with a QR code on her glass, and then she will see you. She's got a place not far from our facility where she can work with you there, or she can work with you at Pinnacle. And the biggest thing that she said at the beginning of the season that I love the most, she was like, when you struggle, when a regular kid gets injured, they have to go schedule an MRI and X-ray and that kind of stuff. She said, I'm able to sometimes work our kids in because I can stay 10 minutes later. I can stay 15 minutes later because it's one of my kids, meaning her kids, meaning us. So super good about being able to work with us. So that is a huge asset. Thank you, Trina. I appreciate you mentioning that because that's a big deal.
One more question about, will parent meetings be allowed with coaches at least once throughout the season?
Will they be allowed? Yeah, I don't think we had, I don't think there was anything that said they couldn't. The only thing that we ask is if the parents are fired up about something, is that they give the coaches 24 hours and the coach has the ability to say, listen, I don't think this is a good idea. Let's have you talk to Jeff first. And so that's been our outlet. So if you can't talk to the coach, you can come directly to me. So we'll get done what we want to get done. I will tell you that part of our coaching curriculum is that we ask our coaches to have one-on-one meetings with every kid there, just to explain where they are, what we're working on, where we want to go, how we're trying to get there, kind of like a parent-teacher conference. That is in our coaches meeting. That's one of the things we ask our coaches to do. It doesn't always work out, but we do ask our coaches to do that. So you should be able to have those conversations with the coach for sure. As long as they're not, if we need to call security, then no, don't go talk to the coach. So do the compare Citadel tryouts this year. No, but not because you can't come in the building, but just because it's going to be packed. We're going to have all of the elite national 16-year-olds in the gym at the same time. That's a ton of kids. So it's not that we're going to ban you from the building. There's just no place for you to go. And our new 5-court space, unless we're set up for a tournament, does not have bleacher space for people just to come in and sit. So no, but not that we don't want you in there. We will live stream everything. Part of our Sports Engine account now has live stream capability. So we're going to be able to live stream on the front page of our website at this point.
Jeff,
All right.
Can you talk about the dedicated recruiting person now that Amy has moved?
Yes. So we have to hire a new dedicated person. So Amy Held was at Kennesaw State. She was working on their coaching staff there for the volleyball program, and Amy got a promotion, I guess you could say, to go be a coach at SUNY in New York. And so she has stepped down as our recruiting director. So we have to hire another recruiting director, which we will do in the next little bit. But there's a process. There's steps to make it work. So it'll be plugging somebody in that understands the college dynamic, but our program is pretty set. And I've done it for the last 10 years for South. So I will continue to help out as much as I can in the interim.
Does Tsunami do a send-off, Jeff, for their 18s?
So yes and no. We're trying. Yes. We just don't know what it is. It's so difficult with some of them here, some of them down south, some of them in Central Georgia. We're not going to have a drive around the building thing like Cobb Atlanta did. It's the weekends we've still got, like I said, 51 teams training for nationals. So we're still regular season fully in the gym. Yes, we will be sending them off, but they will be in the gym with us all summer long. We run training programs for the kids that are still going to leave for college. We have alumni night. We bring them in regularly. So yes, but it's not on our books yet. So I'd love to tell you what it is, but I don't know what it is. In the past, we've all done it at the beginning of the season. We celebrate them, we give them, presents and all that kind of stuff, because we always have these in-person big sessions. But adding Cobb has kind of made us big. And so it's a little bit difficult to get all that stuff done.
Jeff, can you scroll to the premiere slide?
I can. And I'm making notes of things that I need to make sure I get on the calendar. So the 18th send-off had been tabled in my head. I will make sure it gets moved back to the front of the to-do list. All right, what else is in here? So I will tell you guys, I've said everything I'm supposed to say. So if you've heard everything you need to hear, you're good to go. You're welcome to just sign off and move on. If you want to stay and sit through the conversation part, there's certainly more stuff to go over. And I'll stay here as long as we need to answer questions. So I'm not in a hurry to leave. But what else do we need to do? She's a rising senior. I'm sure she's trying from 17 to 18 this year. Call if that's you. Call me tomorrow. Send me an email, something like that, and let's talk about it. There are like 15 different variables as to whether she should play 17s or 18s. And it'll be your decision. We just need to figure out which one works best for your family. All right, what else is in here? What else am I missing?
Is AAU mandatory for 13 elite and up?
Yes. Well, yes, you're paying for it. It is part of your season. So if you go, oh, I'm going to go to regionals and then quit, you quit in the middle of the season. Regionals is not an end point. There's an additional, like our kids are going to Rally Rumble, and then our kids are going to AAU Nationals. It is part of being on an elite team is that you want to play, and you want to play against best competition. Quite frankly, going to nationals, whether it be AAU Nationals, USAB Nationals, is one of the highest level tournaments you can play in the country. So yes, 13 through 18 elite will go to a national tournament. It is part of the tuition. It's the expectation.
Jeff,
if you don't want it,
times? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you don't want to, go play at the national level. 13s, 14s don't go to AAU Nationals at the national level. 15s to 18s do, because now we're talking recruiting, and that is one of the best tournaments to go get recruited. And so at 15s to 18s, we start to make a lot of decisions based on our kids wanting to play in college. I know that's not all of them, but it's a big chunk of them. So a lot of our tournament decisions and pricing and all that kind of stuff are related to getting those kids recruited. So that, what were you asking me? Our practice times?
You have practice times for 15U Premier. Do you have that on schedule yet or no?
I do. Our 15s they'll be Sunday afternoon. 15 Premier will be Sunday afternoon. I don't remember. It's like 3 to 5. Everything's after church. There's a 1 to 3, a 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9. So I think they're 3 to 5. They might be 5 to 7. And then they're Wednesday night. 15s, I think, are 7:30 to 9:15. Yeah, 7:30, 9:30, 7:30, 9:15. One of those two. I'm pretty sure that's right. If not, they're 5:30 to 7:30 on Wednesday night.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, what else? What else have I not answered? Did I miss anything at the beginning, Amanda, as far as the chat is concerned?
Will we be holding an end of the season banquet?
So here's our issue. A banquet, no. We've been having this conversation for months, and here's why. It went from regionals, like 1 week off, to Mother's Day, to we have a scrimmage, an in-house scrimmage, to it's like Memorial Day, and then there's a tournament, and then I don't know, I'm getting the dates wrong. And it's like Father's Day. It's like everything, every single weekend, there's something big going on. And so we will not have a banquet. We will have something that will come up in June that we're working on right this second. It will be more of an in-house thing that we share with our families. So there is an end of the year thing. And again, it is super hard. We've looked at, when I say we've looked at everything, I know how much it costs to rent out Turner Field. I mean, we've looked at everything to try and get a location where we can get Rome to Central Georgia, Cobb, South, North Atlanta, all together. And we've looked at beach tournaments, we've looked at grass tournaments, we've looked at cookouts, we've looked at 1,000 different things to try and get something along those lines. So that is the downside of us being with 1,400 kids in the club right now. That is the downside of us being that big. So yes, it's not going to be what it was. We will not do, and I hate to say this, the awards banquet that you guys did, I loved everything about it except for the awards banquet, except for the awards part of it. I hate awards. It's a team sport. And so I personally nixed the awards banquet. And I'm so sorry. But it's just, you know, that it's hard for me to say there's room for 12 kids on the bench when the 12th kid never got an award, but reality is she was as important as anybody else on the team. So it's just my opinion. But we'll have something. We'll have a going away. We'll have to send it off. I just don't know what it is. And if you have a suggestion, I will give you. You can come over to my house and eat tomorrow night. We will talk about it. I mean, I am that desperate for something that will work. So I will be more than happy to hear that.
Amanda, you may have answered this question, but just in case you didn't, Jeff, do you give discounts for siblings? Like if there's multiple siblings playing in club?
We don't, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because we don't. I charge exactly what it costs. So if it costs me $4,100 for your kid to play, I charge. There's a markup. I think it's like 10%. I charge $4,150 or some. You know, I'm not. You know, we over volume. We make a tiny bit of money on every kid. We don't make money off of our club kids. We use our club kids pay for our facilities, and so there is a tiny sibling discount. It's not a lot. Yes, is the answer to your question, but it's not a lot. So I would love to. And, but I will tell you that we will work with you more than any other club in the world as far as how to make it happen, as far as payment plans, as far as all that kind of stuff. We're 100% on board. We have sponsorship opportunities. You guys can, to help pay your costs. And like I said, we're now at a 10-month payment plan to help spread out some of the payment stuff too. So
Seth, can you talk about, somebody asked, can we stagger tournaments from different Tsunami locations so we don't travel to tournaments and play Tsunami teams? Felt like we played tournaments
every weekend
and ended up playing our own team.
Yes. So this past season was a little bit of a cluster because we had there weren't enough tournaments. There literally were not enough tournaments for us to get all of our our kids in. So we had to send too many teams to. I mean, there was one tournament we needed to send. It was a stupid number. It was like 73 teams to one specific event, and obviously we couldn't do that. And so the answer to the question is yes, but we're having to create additional tournaments. We're having to do some additional things and reach outside of our normal chain of contacts in order to be able to do it. But I don't want to play the same Tsunami teams every week. I don't want to ask you guys to play the same Tsunami teams every week. So yes, 100% we're working on that not happening.
Jeff, can you talk about whether or not there's going to be parent evaluations for feedback on coaches?
So I would say this. I would love to do that, but it always invites extra venom. I will say if you have something about my coach that you need to say, please just email me. It can be one paragraph, 3 sentences, or a book. I don't care. I read them all, and I will make sure that what needs to be shared with the coach will be shared with the coach. And if it doesn't need to be shared with the coach, I will take it under advisement. I will say that I get a ton of feedback on our coaches. We've talked about doing an end of season evaluation, but it's super hard to make that thing where it is productive. Other than just giving you blanks. Did you like the coach? Which is the same thing you can do in an email. So just tell me what you think. So and anything you guys think as far as running the club, there are things that you guys like not sending Tsunami teams, send it to me. I like not sending Tsunami teams to the same tournaments. Send it to me. You can send it to me in one sentence. I agree. And a lot of that stuff I've already thought it out because it's new for us this year. And I saw it. But man, if you've got an idea, I will listen to it. I tell my coaches all the time, listen to the parents, even if they're fussing at you. There's an element of good and truth and what they're saying. Take from what you can. So if you've got information for me, send it to me. I absolutely welcome that. Absolutely welcome that information.
Jeff, while we're talking about tournaments, I have a question about expanding on our opportunity to send teams to nationals by putting ourselves in qualifiers that maybe have more bids to offer than, like, let's look at Big South, for example. I mean, 100 plus teams for one bid, as opposed to maybe going to a smaller qualifier somewhere else that might be farther away, but might have more shots at getting our teams out there.
Okay. So there are two aspects to that. Number one is, and obviously you knew this when you said this, Big South is local. So it is, it's a qualifier we're going to play in every year. And we know typically that it's difficult to qualify at Big South. And so a lot of times teams that are teetering between two levels, we'll play them up a level just because we want that level of competition. So yes, in the American division of a lot of these qualifiers, there's only one bid and there are 100 teams. But if you take our teams that are, unless our teams are finishing in the top 15 to 20 of the American division, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to play them up a division where they have 2 or 3 bids because it's harder. So there is some method to the madness as far as Big South. And Orlando is a qualifier that we love because we can drive. It is a significantly less expensive rather than getting on a plane and flying somewhere. So we like going to Orlando. And there are years when Orlando is tiny and there are years when Orlando is huge. 2 years ago, Orlando was small. This past year, Orlando was as big as it's ever been. And that's the other side of that is you can go to the Northeast qualifier this year and there are 1,000 teams. You go to the Northeast qualifier next year and there are 1,800 teams. And so you don't know when you register in advance. We know there are a couple of things we don't do. We're not going to go to the East Coast. It's always terrible because the time zone change. Inevitably, we end up getting shafted instead of benefited. The Texas qualifiers are always unbelievably high level play. And so we love to go play there, but you don't go there anticipating to get a bid because it's super high level play. You'd have to be a superstar stud and then play well and get a good draw, and all those things, are kind of hard to have happen. So realistically, then that's all of our premier national teams are going to go to Big South and Orlando because of a cost issue. And there aren't other qualifiers that are smaller, that are always smaller. So it's hard to say. I know that if, NEQ, Northern Lights, the whole qualifier collection, literally, if you look at the numbers of registrations over the past 10 years, you can tell that there's a flow to it, but it doesn't make sense. It's not that we can look at it and go, we need to go to NEQ this year. Nobody's going to be there. It doesn't work that way. It's the dates. It is so much date driven because now that 8 teams are early, all of the qualifiers are in about a 5-week period of time. And so that's why our travel schedules stink sometimes and you're playing back-to-back weekends. It's because that's the only way to get qualifiers in. So I understand what you're asking for. I appreciate what you're asking for. It's exceptionally difficult to do what you're asking for. And if we just have to get better so that at Big South, we stand a chance of picking up additional bids, or that at regionals, we're not challenged. We're cruising into the bid because our region has gotten so big now that there are more and more bids coming into our region. So my anticipation is we picked up 10 bids this season as a club, which is a lot of bids. And I anticipate that number going up now that we're all in one facility at Cobb and we can start to do some training things to help us all get better faster. I think you're going to see, I anticipate 13 or 14 bids this upcoming season is kind of is the goal that I've set for us. And I think it's very manageable. I think it's very manageable. So did that answer your question enough, at least?
Yeah, that's helpful. I just didn't know the opportunity for us to look at some other ones that might be smaller. I get the time zone thing with going all the way out west, but maybe we go somewhere out. Some of the ones that the Show Me or any of that tends to be a little bit on the smaller side, but provide some, or at least get our girls more opportunities to get in front of the qualifiers.
We do try, but invariably, whatever one makes the most sense for us to go to, we're going to go whatever. Invariably, that's the same weekend as Big South. I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. And we have skipped Big South before and gone to one of those other qualifiers and did well. But man, our parents blew us up. It's like, why are we traveling when there's a big, good tournament at home? Let's travel the next weekend and the next weekend. So So I hear you, and I agree with you. I just don't know how to make it happen. If that were the case, then everybody would be doing it. And I hear this. Yes, we need a lot more opportunities for qualifiers. I agree, but every qualifier we add adds $1,000 to your tuition. In just big round numbers. And if it's a big travel one, it adds more than that. It's just they're stinking expensive. And then the state of play for every it's so yeah, I agree. We could just do 5 qualifiers and be done with it, but you're going to spend more money and play less. And that's not what we need. What else? Yell it out. Hit me with it. I'm sorry, say that again. Maybe talking to your kids. This is what's exciting to me. Love that. Love that. All right. Anything else? Anything else? Any other questions? Anybody have anything for us? I miss anything?
Question about the train for tryouts or the positional trainings that you're offering. I see there's several dates on there that are during AAUs. So it cuts the opportunities like in half. Will you be adding any more dates to that?
Yeah, so yes, but we're having to work within the timeframes of our practices. So we've got like I said, we've got a whole bunch of teams still in the gym and training and stuff. Hello, Jax. We have a whole bunch of teams in the gyms, still training and stuff. There's not a ton of opportunities to get extra going. So what will happen now is that we still have not put the elite invite sessions in. And that will add for a third of our kids additional times to get in the gym, and then we'll offer additional training once we get in. It's so hard to know what's available right this second because we're still teetering on those other 5 courts being available any minute now, and so that's kind of where we are. But yes, you will get. We're aware that some of those things are when some of the other kids are going to nationals, and we will put other opportunities in. There'll be plenty of opportunities for the kids to get in the gym. And all those practices, we're evaluating the kids. So all of you guys that are practicing with us 3 times a week, you're in good shape.
Who's the coach of the 12 national team?
I don't think we have released that information yet. Amanda might be able to tell you. I don't think we have.
I didn't see it on Instagram, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Amanda, do you know who that is off the top of your head? Are you still with us?
What was the question?
The 12 national head coach. Oh, it's Tom Boyle. Tom Boyle is a long-term Cobb Atlanta coach. He's an old friend of mine for a long, long time. He used to coach the 12-1 team, and he and his daughter Ellie, who's going to Kennesaw State, have agreed to coach the 12-1 national team as of today. So that's not officially released. There's no picture, all that kind of stuff. But Tom and Ellie will do a great job with that group. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to have them back.
Okay. And you said that for the national and elite teams, they have to wear the Nike shoes?
So at 12 and under, no. At 13 and up, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, we do ask if you're going to go buy a pair of volleyball shoes, at least look at the Nike shoes. Because we'll, hopefully you guys will get your picture taken and we'll put it up on the website and stuff. And, Nike has in the past, they've looked at stuff and hey, we'd like to use that. I don't know where that went, but maybe that's your 12 national team. So anyway, but no, you don't have to do it.
Okay. I honestly, I could only find 1 pair of shoes last year that would even fit her size 11. So
you got what you could take. I understand.
Yes,
I understand.
I took what I could take.
Size 11, man. How tall is she?
She's 11. She's 11 right now.
How tall is she?
5'5", maybe. 5'6".
Okay.
She's
That's pretty.
got to grow into
pretty-
those feet.
That's still pretty good for an 11-year-old. So at the younger ages here, for anybody who's left here, I don't know who's still on the call. At the younger ages, one of the things that's a real struggle for us is identifying the difference between 12-1 elite, 12-1 national, 11-1 elite, 11 national, ATL. For 11s to 12s, for the 12-1 elite, it's different. They're going to go to Orlando. It's a little bigger travel schedule, but all the rest of them, most of those tournaments are here. There's not a whole lot of difference between there's a difference between 12-1 national and 12-1 elite. There's not a huge difference between 12-1 national and 12-1 ATL or 11-1 elite and 11-1 ATL. So some of those things like, my daughter's not any good. If she would be interested in playing on the higher level team, let her try out. Now, in this instance, probably 12-1 national is what you want, because there is a difference between 12-1 national and 12-1 elite.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were just trying to figure out which one to have her try out for. So
Sure.
One or the other. Yeah, for sure.
And I think they're at the same time. I think they're literally at the same time. Sunday, July 9th, 10th through 12th, all. There you go.
Okay.
So they're all the 10s through 12s will be in the gym at the exact same time, 9 to 12 a.m. So that's easy. You can sign up for whatever you want to. And you can even ask the question, when we get there, what's going to work.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. What else? What else?
Jeff, this might have been covered already, but what do you anticipate, or how many do you anticipate putting on teams this year? I mean, will it change from elite to national to premier?
I am a 100% huge advocate for 12 kids on a team. And I'll tell you why. To be able to run a practice with 12 kids is the absolute best way for the kids to get better. Now, here's the difference in what we're able to do at South and what we've had to do at Cobb previously is we were doing master coaching stuff and we had 2 teams on the court, and when you had 12 on the team, you had 24 kids on the court, and that's a lot. Now, for the most part, those teams are all going to be by themselves, and now it's 6 versus 6 kids that are the same level. Now, does it create a playing time issue? Sometimes, but not. I mean, I have 12 on my 12's team, and had 0 playing time issues. Now, all of my little kids can ball out. They've all done a great job, and they've all gotten significantly better. But you can absolutely have 12 on the team and not have playing issues. But man, practices are 1,000 times better with 12 on the team. I hate 13. I will go 11 if I've got a good assistant coach that can jump in and play. But man, have 6 on 6 and a coach on each side being able to give instructions on what we're working on, so that we can do situational scoring drills and that kind of stuff. It is amazing. And somebody just put it in the thing. If you lose a couple of kids and you have 12, you still have a full team. You can still make things work. If you have 9 on a team, 10 on a team, and you lose a couple, now you're struggling. Like, do we really want to go to Orlando and play the qualifier with only 8 kids? Well, not really. But we have to. So I'm 100% advocate for 12 on the team, and I'll shout it from the mountaintop. It is better. It is better. It's better. And I waffled on that for years, but 12 for sure.
Will you? I mean, we had more than that on our team this year. So
we had 1 or 2 teams where the 13th kid was significantly better than the first kid on the next team down. And so there were a couple of teams where we put 13 on just because it's like, it's not fair to the 13th kid, but that was it. And I want to say of all the teams, I think we had 2 that had 13 on it. So will we do it? Yes. Do we want to? No.
Okay. Thank you.
And we usually have a conversation with that kid. You're the 13th kid, usually. So.
Okay.
Fire away. Whoever's got a question, throw it at me.
All right, I have another question. Sorry.
Yep.
We were longtime Cobb Atlanta family, and there's some wonderful things about what Cobb Atlanta did, and there's some wonderful things about what Tsunami has done this year. One thing that we found that really was great about Cobb Atlanta was that there was accountability for the PT training that was not there this year. So is there going to be any type of, I don't know what that would entail, but I know it's frustrating for a lot of our players when, you know, maybe only some of our team would show up for the PT training.
So it'll be different now that it's all in the gym. It's hard for me to tell you as a mom, you have to leave McCleskey and drive over to the gym to work out for 30 minutes and then go home. It's just, and that was kind of an organization-wide conversation, or a Cobb organization-wide conversation that we had. It's difficult for me to make that mandatory. Now, I will tell you, I live by the creed that working out is a privilege. And so you're going to work out because you want to get better, and the kids that aren't working out are not going to get better. And so peer pressure from a team standpoint is a big deal, but your practice now will start at 5:30 or whatever it is. It'll start at 5:30 and it will end at 8 o'clock. And your 30 minutes is built in for working out. So you're going to be in the gym and it's there. They will literally have to look at their teammates and say, I'm not working out. So now, am I going to punish kids for not working out? No, because it is a logistical nightmare to keep track of all of that. But I fully expect for every kid to work out, and I fully expect for our coaches to harass the kids as they're walking out the door. Like, wait, where are you going? Why are you leaving? That sort of thing. And that's part of our coaches meeting as far as getting the kids in to work out. I don't want lazy kids.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Will coaches be a performance training? There's a significant. Yes, it is. It actually is in their contracts this year that one of the two coaches will be at performance training every single time. So, and I will tell you guys who were asking for accountability at Cobb Atlanta, when I first stepped into the gym, that was one of the things that the office staff shared with me was the absolute worst part about it. Was keeping track of it and losing out volleyball because kids weren't coming to performance training. It created extra issues, the accountability piece. So my accountability piece is it's built into your practice plan. If mama wants to leave, it may affect your playing time. So we're on the same page. We're on the same page. I promise you we're on the same page, but we're going to make it happen through different methods. It's going to be built into the practice plan. It's going to happen there. They're going to have to walk out of the middle of practice in order to not do it. What else? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? I'm happy to answer questions all night.
I have one more question about the uniform for next year.
Okay.
Will they the shorts that they had this year, will they be able to wear those again next season?
Yes.
Okay, because you were kind enough to let me get her longer shorts, and then you put the logo on them, and I appreciated that so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes.
But I didn't know if I had to get Nike shorts.
No, it's
because
fine.
I think what she had was like from Dick's.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's fine. You don't hide 3 pairs of spandex in the midst of all that stuff. It's fine. Now, there will be a royal blue short with the elite teams this upcoming year.
Okay.
As part of the uniform package, so you may want to be on the hunt for if she's playing elite. You may want to be on the hunt for some of those.
Okay, yeah, the longer shorts just
Feels better about them.
Okay. Feels better, yes.
Sure. No,
but
no,
I appreciated that so much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So,
all right. And
okay,
yeah, good. So somebody asked, why do kids switch teams in the middle of the season? The only reason we switch kids in the middle of the season is for spacing. If I've got injuries and I need to move kids around, occasionally we'll have a kid that moves down because she's not happy. It's not a good fit. But of the whatever team, 125 teams we had this year, I think we probably moved 3 kids. So it's certainly not something that happens often. It's just not by design. There just are individual circumstances where it is necessary to move a kid.
Jeff, I'm hopping off and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it, Trina. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you. You too.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Amanda.
All right, so elite teams, as you were one of the elite teams where the kids didn't show up. So this is a direct message to me. We're on the elite team where the kids didn't show up. The coach will be there from now on. And so that will, I think that will change. And there'll be a leaderboard. So Corey's doing some things with keeping stats on some kids now that he's got a full season behind him and he understands what we're up against. I need to make myself a couple of notes here.
Last question, it might be too late in your talks with Nike, but going to the uniform, these were some of the shortest shorts I have ever seen or had my daughter play in, and I would love to see a little bit longer of an option.
So Nike makes, it is actually the Nike short, the Mizuno short, the Adidas short, they're all the same. Now they make longer versions of them, but if you look at our competitors are wearing Ren, that are wearing Mizuno, they're wearing Adidas, they're all wearing the same inseam short. So it just appears that way or it feels that way, but it's not actually the case. So there is a longer short. What we found is that the one with the Nike Pro waistband that everybody loves is the same inseam. They make a longer inseam of it, but it is significantly more expensive. So to do it across as many kids as we're doing, we don't want to do that because it's more expensive, but it's the same inseam, but you can wear it a little bit lower. They do make, like, I think it's a 2.5 inch inseam. They make a 4 inch, they make a 5 inch, they make the other inseams. And as the other lady said, I will print, our logo on them if you want to buy those, and I will print them for you. But your daughter may have gotten taller since the last time you bought Spanish, but they're the same. It's the same inseam. I'm a Mizuno dealer. I know what we're. It's the same. It's a 2.5 inch inseam. So she's just getting bigger. Sorry, Mom. She's getting taller.
Well, thank you for offering to print if we were providing the longer shorts. I appreciate that as an option. So thank you.
For sure. One of the things that I do need for you to do is try not to get it with somebody else's logo on it. It can be a generic. It can be, if it's if it's got Adidas on it, it's black. It's a black on black. That's fine. We need to put the logo on it. If it's got a lime green, Mizuno label on it, then and she's on one of the older elite teams, I will get a little grief for that. So if you can find a generic, and they're out there for sure. They're out there. They've got them at Dick's and all this other places. You just have to, I would say, shop a little earlier to make sure you get what you wanted.
Yeah, Dick's actually had a good selection of 3, 5, and 7 inch in both black and the royal blue.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
Yeah, they just for that other mom.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's perfect. That's perfect. That's great. And so we've done a 2.5 inch inseam. So that's what they're currently wearing. So your 3 inches, maybe 5 inches, maybe what you want. So there we go. Can Nike also offer the long pants option for us? I saw a lot of girls wear them this year. Didn't we? Okay. So it's 2 questions. All right. So the long spandex leggings will be in the store. So it will not be part of our uniform package, but it will be on the store. You can buy them separately directly from BSN. It will you'll get a discount on them. They're still gonna be, they're gonna be expensive, but you can do it for sure. And there are a lot of kids who wear them. And then can Nike also offer the long pants option for us? So a lot of girls wear them this year. I don't know if those are the same. If y'all were talking about the same thing, just the longer, the legging, it is available for sure. And we've got a new partnership with Lululemon as well. So you can wear the Lululemon ones if you want to wear $500 pair of leggings with the pair of knee pads over them. But it's not, it is there. So we're happy for you guys to wear the leggings. A lot of our kids do wear the leggings. They're expensive, so it's probably not going to be part of the uniform package because not all the kids want to wear them. You're in a convention center; it's kind of hot, but they do look cool sometimes. So that's one of those things you guys can grab. And we may figure out a way to. We've got heat presses and stuff at the gym, and I may talk to the staff about maybe we get just our logo, so you can put them on some other things. So if you get the leggings, you put the logo on it. Just heat press it there at the gym. So that's an option. I hadn't thought about that. Let me write that down. All right. What other questions here? I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. Here we go. All right. All right. So there's still 44 of you guys, 43 of you guys. What else? You guys are hanging around just trying to glean knowledge here. I understand. Are there any other questions that you guys have? I'm here. My family's upstairs. The dogs are asleep beside me, so we're good. Nobody's yelling at us. Let me see, what else? What else do you guys want to know that we haven't discussed? The air conditioning units are in both of the facilities. So it is not enough to make it freezy, but it's 1,000 times better than it was. Will you increase the number of restrooms at the Cobb location? So our current space has 3 courts and 4 bathrooms. Our new space has 5 courts and has, I think, 6 stalls for the women and 4 or 5 stalls for the men. Which is exactly what's supposed to be there permit wise. What's the makeup date for 16U premiere? It's on the website on the Tryout page. The makeup date is there. Can we expect similar turnovers as we played last year? So yes and no. If you were on an elite team last year and you played 2 qualifiers, you'll probably play 2 qualifiers again this year. There were some of our 15, 16, 17s traveled a little bit too much. And so we're going to scale that back just a little bit, but not a lot, just not quite as far. So we're pretty excited about that. What else? Nike high top shoes. Yep. I hope we're going to have a custom Nike high top shoe. So if we miss tryouts due to vacation camp, or the commitment team just formed and committed in June, then is it possible that there is no chance of making a team if we come for makeup tryout? So if you will let us know in advance that, and I said this earlier, if you'll let us know in advance, and there'll be a link for you to sign up for this. If you'll let us know in advance, we will use anytime you're in the gym, May and June, to evaluate you for tryout, to understand what we're looking at. And so if there is then the opportunity to put you on a team, we will. And again, we're going to try to not cut anybody 14 and under, the 15, 16, 17s, 18s. You'll need to have a conversation if you're trying to make one of the elite teams. So you'll need to be in the gym in June, quite frankly, and then come to the makeup tryout. Will there be a bigger bag room, locker area? That's not an option in our current space. At the other space, there'll be a couple of rooms where you can put stuff. It is what it is. But we won't be practicing as many teams at a time on a court. So it'll by default, the answer to your question is, yeah, we're good to go. Elite positional training is the first week of high school trials for a lot of you guys. Yeah, so I think there are 2 weeks of positional training. I'm pretty sure there are 2 weeks on the schedule. Sign up for what you can do. If you're in the gym with a team already, you're okay. I don't want you guys to panic if you're not able to get to something, because we're going to take a look at you during practices. We'll have conversations with our coaches for sure before we go into trials. It'll be different. The trials this year are going to be entirely different. We'll have a much better view of what it looks like. I know a lot more kids now. Coaches know a lot more kids. So it'll be a lot of fun. Just be in the gym and converse with us. That's the single biggest thing. Will bags be engraved this time as part of the fees? We will put the logo of the club on. We're not going to put the individual kids' names on, because it's different. I've got some parents who won't put a kid's name on it because of walking around with a name on it. People call it out. So we don't put their names on it. But we will put the logo on it, and you guys can put your names on it if you want to. Is there a plan to host tournaments at Tsunami Cobb once the new courts are set up? Amen. Yes, for sure. And we hosted this year. We did host at our facility, and we will continue to do so. We will actually not be hosting at all of the surrounding high schools. We'll be hosting more at our facility, which would be kind of nice.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
You mentioned that possibly 2 weeks the other courts would be available. I saw fingers crossed.
Yes.
Would the updated current schedule be changing? Because right now our
Yep.
team, right, we're all at McCluskey now. And
Yeah. So yes. So the deal is we had put together this practice schedule with our landlord telling us we will be in the gym already. So we had a full practice schedule. And so then at the last minute, they're like, we failed. We didn't fail. They failed something. And so like we're pushed back now about 3 weeks. So we took all those kids are going to be at the other side. And we left basically the group that was in our original space and we just kind of dispersed them with the hope that it's just going to be really fast and we'll get you guys back in. And so then we've made some other changes, but yes, we already have the practice schedule put together for when those other 5 courts open up. And the courts are over there, the poles are here, everything's great. We are waiting on Cobb County to rubber stamp the building permit and then knock it out. So that's where we are.
and would that possibly change the scrimmage that we have currently
Yes.
on the schedule that is down in Tsunami South?
Yes. So right now, that schedule is going to change already because Cobb's not going to be ready for the first one. So it's gonna mess up the first one. So that scrimmage is during your normal practice day, but it is down south. And what we have done is basically we sent half the people to Cobb and half the people to South. But now that Cobb's out, we're going to scrimmage some at our little space at Cobb, but we're probably going to end up having to send some teams south as well. And then the next time they swapped, like the South kids were coming up and the Cobb kids were staying. So there were 2 scrimmages and you should have only had to travel for one of them. I think we had a mess up on there where somebody was traveling twice, and that's not going to happen. But there, as part of that scrimmage, yes, there is a good chance that you will have to go south for one Sunday afternoon. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know. It's a long way.
It's the Sunday before graduations. That's all, but it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
So,
okay.
but I just wanted to see. Yeah, yeah, we got it.
Throw them in a van.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Can you please give the Cobb location they will be practicing at? That's our existing 3-court facility with another 5 courts that we're hoping to open soon, any minute. So it's 1300 Cobb International. Will bags been great. Location will practice switchers. The player's number on there. Get mixed up. So a lot of the stuff that to answer your question about putting the numbers on everything, maybe. It is a time consuming little detail that is nice to have, but it goes down it gets less important to some other things. So it's important. Yes, love to do it. Always make my kids write their number on the inside of their shirts, and that kind of takes care of that issue. Will there be a water machine available at the Cobb location? Yes. Right now, there is a water filter in the refrigerator. It's slow, but there is cold water in the refrigerator. Kids go in there and fill up all the time. But we'll have one of those cooler things where you can fill up at the new location. We just have to get in there first and then get it set up. Fire away. What else you got?
Will Tsunami follow Cobb County Schools vacation schedule with closures?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, we did this season, except where teams were playing a qualifier the following weekend. We still had practices for those. I think there were like 4 or 5 teams. But
yeah, Sunshine qualifier.
Even then, I instructed our coaches not to blow the kids up if mom already had something scheduled. But in that same vein, we asked for the elite teams, if you're going to play in a qualifier, maybe be available for practice. I hate to say it that way, but we're going to have practice. But yes, for all the other things, schools closed, we closed. But you got a bunch of kids coming over from Paulding County. You got kids coming from other counties, so it's a little bit muddy from the Cobb County schedule. But yes, we do. It's in our thing. And we offer camps and clinics and optional practices. It was just that week was the only thing that was on the schedule this week that was a little bit of an issue. And it's been an issue for Jessica Turnbull for the last 10 years, and it'll be an issue for us for the next 10 years. Just one of those things. At least Big South wasn't on Easter this year. What else?
To go along with that as a follow-up question, do you know how soon you will have some of those qualifiers like the Sunshine kind of blew up the winter break thing with practices and coming back and we do not want to make the same mistake of planning something and then being stuck with that.
Right. So so next Wednesday when we post, we'll post as much of that schedule as we can. I'll be honest, I haven't looked yet. Typically 90% of the qualifier schedules come out somewhere right around here. But I haven't looked yet. If the qualifier schedule is out, then we'll go ahead and post that information. I just haven't gotten to looking at it yet. This is the first time ever we've had this opportunity to plan our schedule in advance. We're normally chasing it from behind because our tryouts are so late. So the answer to your question is yes, if the information is available. All right. Can you speak to how sponsorship program works for parents who own businesses? So we have opportunity. So if a business donates to an individual, legally, like the business can't pay for something, but you can make a donation to the club. And so there's a way for businesses to buy sponsorship, and then we just credit your kid's account and that sort of stuff. But there's a percentage of it that goes towards it. But what we just say to the kids is go sell these sponsorships if you want to help pay for your facility, pay for your dues. I'll be completely honest, we haven't completely thought it out yet because I don't know where we would put the signs up. Right now it's the website and there are a couple of things like that, but we want to be able to put up some actual banners. And we'll provide that opportunity, but I have to say it's kind of down the list of the to-do list, not in importance, but in terms of date. But I will find out a little bit more information. But all we've done in the past is business, whatever it is, business buys a banner for $1,000, $800 of it goes towards a kid, $200 goes to build the banner, and then we go from there. That's the general idea. We've had people in the past buy practice T-shirts and put the name on the back and all that kind of stuff, and we're kind of open to that conversation.
Jeff, is there any plan to do any? I guess is the question is, we're Tsunami Cobb, and then there's Tsunami South and North and all that. Like,
Right.
Is there any plan to kind of differentiate each location in terms of like the color of the hibiscus or like the cover-up shirts or something? Just because sometimes we are at these tournaments and literally you look around and every single Saturday, those teams are wearing white. And it's like, oh my gosh, You can't even figure out where your own team is.
Right. So the answer to that question is no. And the reason for that is I've heard it for however long A5's been around, that their Gwinnett kids and their South kids and their Chattanooga kids all feel like the stepchildren. Because there's A5 and then there's A5 Chattanooga and A5 South, and A5 doesn't want to claim them, and they actually put it on the jersey that they're Chattanooga or South or whatever. And so I've heard those coaches go, we kind of hate it. Are we part of the organization? Not part of the organization. So for us, no, we will continue to do, and quite frankly, the issue is not what has happened this year. The issue is how many teams we've had to send to tournaments. So when there aren't 50 teams in a 10-court facility that are all wearing Tsunami gear, it won't seem quite that way. But no, I love the fact that the Cobb teams look like the South teams, look like the Rome teams. That's part of what we're trying to build, is that we all teach the same things. We all, we support each other when we can, all this stuff. So no, not out of defiance, but we're kind of the same charter, the same everything. And it's by design that we're all working for the same goal, the same way, and look the same. So that's, I may change my mind next year, but that's kind of where I am right this second. Will there be less teams this year? It seems there were a lot last year. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope we're going to have the same number of teams or more. It is our intention to continue to grow. We have increased our ability to have additional teams. We've increased our ability to handle things. So yes, there were a lot of teams. There were a lot of kids still that walked out of our gym without a place to play. So I fully anticipate having the same number of teams, if not more. And we've set up the infrastructure to be able to do it. So it'll be our intention is to do the same number of teams. We have some good season from other locations, and it was great to see that support. Agreed. 100% agree, Cal. Thank you for putting that out. And right now, our 16-1 elite team at South are in a bid USAD Nationals, and they've lost all 3 outside hitters to injury. And so there are a couple of kids from Cobb that are going to go down and step in and play with those guys to fill in, so that we actually have a full team to be able to go. And if we're separate charters and we're separate uniforms, all that kind of stuff, you can't do it. And so all of our elite teams get the same 3 jerseys. All of our premier teams get the same 2 jerseys. And it is by design, so you can fill in. So yeah, it's what's worked well for us for the past however many years we've been doing this. What else? What you got for me? I feel like some of you guys are hanging around still to ask questions. Just kind of waiting. Most of the older girls tend to wear basketball shoes. Is it possible to have those as an option for team uniform? Yeah, we covered that earlier. I'm actually working with Nike now to create a basketball shoe, a high top and a low top option for us this season. So uniform packages will be a little different just because of the timing. We're not having to do it at the last minute. If you guys remember, you literally left tryouts, you walked over onto the turf, you tried on 3 of the 9 pieces that we had, and a pair of shoes, and we're fortunate that we got it right for 95% of the kids. But it'll be different this year. You'll have a full package to try on. We'll have time. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. I'm excited about that. That's always an issue for us. Painful. What else do you have for us? All right. Well, if that's it, then I'm going to end this. It's 9 o'clock, so we've got we've been on for a couple of hours now. My email address is jeff@tsunamivolleyball.com. Email if you have any questions. I'm happy to work with you guys. Thank you so much for jumping in. I'm going to end the recording and then end the meeting. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Look forward to seeing you guys in the gym.